The massive Imperial flagship Dominion slowed as it approached the outer edge of the Sol system. Admiral Rex stood on the command bridge, hands clasped behind his back as he stared at the small blue planet displayed on the main view screen. "Such a tiny world to cause so much trouble," he muttered. His second-in-command, Commander Pike, approached with a data tablet. "Scans confirmed, sir. It's a Class 3 civilization with limited space travel capabilities, primarily confined to their own system with a few outposts on nearby planets." Rex nodded. This would be simple. The Galactic Empire had absorbed over 3,000 worlds in the past century alone. Some joined willingly, eager for advanced technology and protection. Others required persuasion. Earth would be no different. Send the standard first contact message. Inform them of their forthcoming integration into the Empire, and request their leaders prepare for our arrival. Pike hesitated. "Sir, intelligence reports indicate this species may be unusually stubborn." Rex laughed. "They all are at first, Commander. Prepare the diplomatic corps. I want boots on their planet within 3 standard cycles." Across the void of space, on Earth's Unified Defense Command Center buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Miller watched as the alien fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel. "Right on schedule," she said quietly. The room hummed with activity as technicians monitored screens and military officers from every nation on Earth studied the approaching armada. Decades of secret preparation had led to this moment. "They're broadcasting, General," announced Communications Officer Paddle. "Standard Imperial greeting. They're informing us of our acceptance into their empire." Miller's face remained impassive. "Send our response." On the Dominion, Admiral Rex was reviewing conquest protocols when Pike rushed onto the bridge. "Sir, we've received a message from Earth. Already preparing their welcome, are they?" Rex smiled. "Not exactly, sir." Pike's voice wavered. They've ordered us to halt immediately and remain outside their system boundaries." Rex stared at his subordinate in disbelief. "They've what?" "The message states that Earth and the entire Sol system are sovereign territory, closed to Imperial entry without explicit permission." Pike handed over the translated message. "They've defined their boundary as extending 2 light hours from their sun in all directions." Rex read the message twice, his face darkening with each word. "This is unprecedented," murmured the ship's political officer. "No pre-FTL civilization has ever refused first contact." Rex crushed the data tablet in his hand. "They don't have a choice. We are the Galactic Empire. We command 1,000,000 worlds. Who are these primitives to deny us?" He strode to the command console and opened a channel. "This is Admiral Rex of the Imperial Galactic Fleet. Your planet has been selected for integration into our glorious empire. Resistance is not an option. Prepare your leaders to receive our envoys." The response came almost immediately, displayed on the main screen for all to see. "This is Earth Unified Defense. Your vessels are approaching restricted space. The Sol system is not open to Imperial entry. This is your final warning. Any crossing of our boundary will be considered an act of aggression and met with appropriate force." Silence fell across the bridge. Never in the 1,000-year history of the Empire had such a small, technologically inferior world dared to defy them. "Sir," Pike said quietly, "perhaps we should consult Imperial command before proceeding." Rex's eyes narrowed as he stared at the blue planet. "No, these humans need to learn their place in the galaxy. Send in the scout ships. Let's see how serious they are about their boundary." On Earth, General Miller watched the Imperial ships adjust their formation. She reached for the secure communications link to the President. "Madam President, they're not backing down. Shall we activate the perimeter?" The President's voice was calm but resolute. "The decision was made long ago, General. Show them we mean business." Miller nodded and pressed her palm against the activation scanner. "May the stars help them understand," she whispered, "that Earth is not for taking." 3 Imperial scout ships broke formation from the main fleet, sleek and predatory, as they accelerated toward Earth's claimed boundary. On their bridges, young officers eager to prove themselves smiled at the ease of their mission. "Record everything," ordered Captain Trent of the Lead Scout. "Imperial historians will want footage of Earth's first submission." His crew chuckled as they approached the invisible line the humans had so boldly drawn across the stars. Their sensors detected nothing unusual. No defense platforms, no energy barriers, not even primitive weapon satellites. "Boundary crossing in 10 seconds, announced Trent's navigator. On the Dominion, Admiral Rex watched with satisfaction. These humans would learn quickly that empty threats meant nothing to the Empire. The lead scout ship crossed the boundary. Then all 3 vessels simply stopped. "Sir," Pike's voice cracked with alarm. "The scouts have lost all power. They're dead in space." Rex rushed to the view screen. "Impossible. Scan them." Before any scan could begin, every screen on the Imperial bridge lit up with the face of General Miller. "Imperial vessels, you were warned. Your scout ships have been disabled but not destroyed. Their crews are unharmed." Rex slammed his fist on the console. "How are they broadcasting on our secure channels?" Miller continued calmly. "We have established a defensive perimeter around our system using technology you clearly do not understand. Your disabled ships will be towed to the boundary and returned to you as a courtesy. Any further violations will result in more permanent measures." The broadcast ended as abruptly as it had begun. Hours later, Commander Pike led a team to inspect the returned scout ships. The crews were indeed unharmed but confused. According to them, all systems had simply stopped functioning the moment they crossed the boundary. No alarms, no warnings, just complete shutdown. "It's like the power was just gone," explained Trent, still visibly shaken. "But our backup systems should have engaged automatically. Even our personal devices stopped working." Rex paced his private quarters, struggling to comprehend this development. Earth was supposed to be a primitive world, barely capable of interplanetary travel. Yet they possessed technology that could remotely disable Imperial vessels without firing a shot. "Admiral," his communications officer called through the door. "Earth is requesting a formal meeting. They want to send representatives to discuss terms." Rex laughed bitterly. "Terms? They wish to dictate terms to us." "They've offered neutral territory, sir. A space station they've moved to the exact boundary line." 2 days later, Rex sat across from Ambassador Wells in a simple meeting room aboard the human space station. The station itself was a marvel, constructed using materials and designs Rex had never seen before. "Let me be direct, Admiral," Wells began. "Earth has no interest in joining your empire." "That is not how this works," Rex replied coldly. "The empire brings order, technology, protection." "We've been watching your empire for over a century," Wells interrupted. "We've seen how you bring order to worlds that resist. We've observed your treatment of species deemed less advanced." Rex stiffened. "Impossible. Our detection systems would have. Your systems see what we allow them to see." Wells slid a data device across the table. "This contains footage from within your Imperial Council chambers from meetings dating back 50 years. We know your protocols, your weaknesses, your true intentions." Rex stared at the device, his mind racing. If humans could spy on the most secure location in the Empire. Earth is not isolationist by necessity, Admiral. It's by choice. Wells leaned forward. "We have chosen to stay apart from galactic politics. We have chosen not to share our technological advances. And now we are choosing to formally deny the Empire entry to our system." "The Emperor will never accept this," Rex warned. "Then the Emperor should be prepared for what comes next." Wells stood. "You have 24 hours to acknowledge our sovereignty or demonstrate why we should reconsider our position." As Rex returned to his ship, he felt something he hadn't experienced in his entire military career. Fear. Admiral Rex paced the bridge of the Dominion, his pride wounded deeper than any physical injury could reach. For 3 generations, his family had served the Empire with distinction. He himself had overseen the integration of 17 worlds. And now, a primitive species on a blue speck of a planet dared to dictate terms to him. "Sir," Commander Pike approached cautiously. "Imperial Command has responded to our report." Rex snatched the communication tablet. The message was brief but clear. "Demonstrate Imperial power and bring Earth to heal or be replaced. Prepare attack squadrons 1 through 5, Rex ordered. Arm disruptor cannons and ready boarding parties." Pike hesitated. "Sir, after what happened to the scouts." "The scouts were unprepared," Rex snapped. "This time we'll overwhelm their defenses with multiple targets and show these humans what real power looks like." Across the boundary, in Earth's Unified Defense Command, General Miller watched the Imperial fleet's movements with her senior staff. "They're preparing an attack," noted Colonel Davis, studying the tactical display. 20 vessels forming into strike formation. Miller nodded. "As expected, Admiral Rex is following Imperial protocol for resistant worlds. First intimidation, then demonstration of force." She turned to her weapons officer. "Activate the mesh, but keep casualty protocols in place. We want to teach them, not destroy them." "Yes, General," the officer replied, entering commands into his console. Mesh activated and calibrated for non-lethal response. On the Dominion, Rex addressed his attack squadron commanders on a secure channel. "The boundary appears to generate some kind of power-draining field. Your ships will cross simultaneously at different points to overwhelm their system. Once through, target their orbital installations only. We want to frighten them, not annihilate them." The commanders acknowledged their orders, each confident that Earth's defenses would falter against a coordinated assault. "Attack squadrons, launch," Rex commanded. 20 sleek Imperial warships broke from the main fleet, accelerating toward the boundary at different angles. Each carried enough firepower to level a small city. "Boundary crossing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, announced the Dominion's tactical officer. The moment the first ship crossed the line, the Imperial fleet discovered exactly how outmatched they were. Unlike the scouts, the warships didn't simply power down. Instead, each vessel was instantly encased in a glowing silver web of energy that rippled across their hulls. Inside, crew members watched in horror as their control systems rewrote themselves before their eyes. On the Dominion's main screen, every Imperial warship simultaneously displayed the same message. "Weapons neutralized. Engines restricted. Return trajectory programmed." Then, to Rex's astonishment, his attack fleet began moving in perfect formation, back toward the Dominion. "What's happening?" he demanded. "Get me Commander Voss." When Voss's face appeared on screen, the commander looked pale. "Admiral, we've been overridden. Some kind of network infiltrated our systems instantly. Our weapons are offline, and we can't control our ships. The navigation is locked on a return course." Before Rex could respond, every screen on the Dominion flickered. The bridge crew gasped as classified Imperial military protocols began scrolling across their displays. Encryption codes, fleet formations, even the Emperor's private command overrides. Then the screens cleared, and Professor Thomas, Earth's Defense Technology Director, appeared. "Admiral Rex," he said calmly, "we've just demonstrated a fraction of our defensive capabilities. Your attack squadron will return safely to you, though their weapons systems have been permanently disabled." Rex struggled to maintain composure. How did you?" "We call it the mesh, a quantum-entangled network that can interface with any technology. We've studied Imperial systems for decades. Did you think we wouldn't prepare?" Thomas's expression remained neutral. "Your ships are being returned as a courtesy. We could have disintegrated them without harming the crews, or simply reprogrammed them to return to your capital world with the message that Earth is off-limits." The professor leaned closer to the camera. "This was a warning, Admiral. There won't be another. The next Imperial vessel, that crosses our boundary will not return." The transmission ended, leaving Rex staring at his approaching helpless fleet. For the first time in its 1,000-year history, the Galactic Empire had not just been defied. It had been defeated. In the Imperial Command's Intelligence Center orbiting safely beyond Earth's boundary, analysts worked frantically to understand what they had witnessed. Chief Intelligence Officer Blake stared at the data streaming across multiple screens, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's impossible," she muttered. "A civilization confined to a single star system cannot have developed technology this advanced." Her assistant, Officer Reed, set down another report. "We've analyzed all records from the return ships. The technology doesn't match anything in our database. It's not borrowed or stolen from any known civilization." Blake turned to the holographic display showing Earth's historical timeline. "Look at this," she pointed. 200 years ago, they were burning fossil fuels and fighting among themselves. Then suddenly, about 80 years ago, their technological development accelerated dramatically. Could they have been visited by another advanced race? Reed suggested. "No evidence of that," Blake replied. "It appears they've genuinely developed this technology on their own, but in isolation. They'd never joined any galactic trade routes or alliances." On the Dominion, Admiral Rex faced the most uncomfortable communication of his career. The Emperor's hologram towered over him, face twisted with displeasure. "You're telling me this primitive world has technology that can neutralize our warships without firing a shot?" the Emperor demanded. "Yes, Your Majesty," Rex answered, keeping his eyes lowered. "And there's more. Earth has requested a formal meeting to explain their position. They claim they've been observing us for decades." The Emperor's expression darkened. "Accept the meeting. I want to know everything about this world and its capabilities before I decide how to crush them." The meeting was set for neutral territory, a small asteroid that Earth had quickly converted into a meeting facility at the exact boundary line. Rex arrived with a team of Imperial scientists and security officers, all visibly tense. Professor Thomas greeted them, along with General Miller and a team of Earth representatives. The humans appeared remarkably calm. "Thank you for agreeing to this dialogue," Thomas began. "We believe it's time to explain Earth's position in galactic affairs." He activated a holographic display showing the galaxy with thousands of points highlighted. "These are observation posts Earth has maintained throughout the galaxy for the past 70 years, Thomas explained. "We've studied every major civilization, including your empire, without interfering." Rex stared in disbelief. "That's not possible. We would have detected." "Your detection technology is based on principles we moved beyond decades ago," Miller interjected. "Our observation posts exist partially in another dimensional state." Thomas continued, 80 years ago, Earth experienced what we call the Great Leap, a sudden acceleration in human understanding of physics. We discovered principles that your scientists haven't yet theorized. A hologram shifted to show Imperial warships attacking resistant worlds. "We watched how the Empire integrates civilizations," Miller said coldly. "We saw the suppression, the resource extraction, the cultural erasure. We decided Earth would take a different path." "Isolation," Thomas added. "We developed our technology specifically to defend ourselves without needing to conquer others. We have no interest in imperial politics, trade routes, or galactic dominance." One of the Imperial scientists leaned forward. "But why not share these advances? You could transform the galaxy." Thomas smiled sadly. "Because we've observed how power is used in the galaxy, including how your empire would use our technology if you obtained it." He displayed another hologram, this one showing Earth surrounded by layers of defensive systems, most invisible to normal detection. "Our homeworld is protected by defenses that operate on principles your empire won't discover for centuries," Thomas explained. "We don't wish for conflict, but we will not be conquered." Miller's voice was steady as she delivered the final point. "Earth has chosen freedom over expansion. We have everything we need within our system. We don't want your empire, "Admiral, we simply want to be left alone." Rex sat in stunned silence, finally understanding the truth. Earth wasn't refusing to join the Empire because they couldn't defend themselves. They were refusing because they didn't need the Empire at all. And that made them the most dangerous world in the galaxy. The Imperial Council chamber fell into stunned silence as Admiral Rex finished his report. 12 of the Empire's most powerful figures sat around the massive obsidian table, their faces illuminated by the holographic display showing Earth's defensive capabilities. "This cannot stand," declared Grand Minister Vex, slamming his fist down. "No world defies the Empire and survives. We must make an example of them." Admiral Rex shifted uncomfortably. "With respect, Minister, we don't fully understand their technology. Their defensive systems. Then we overwhelm them." Vex interrupted. "Summon the Grand Fleet. 10,000 ships should be sufficient to crush this insolent world." The Emperor, seated at the head of the table, had remained silent throughout the presentation. Now he raised a hand, immediately silencing the chamber. "If what Admiral Rex reports is accurate," he said slowly, "Earth possesses technology that could spread to other worlds under our control. This is the true threat. Not their defiance, but the example they set." The military director nodded gravely. "Precisely, Your Majesty. Already, rumors are spreading. 3 systems in the Outer Rim are questioning their tribute obligations." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Then we have no choice. Earth must be brought to heel or removed entirely." He turned to Rex. "Admiral, you will deliver our ultimatum. Earth has one standard week to surrender their technology and accept Imperial rule, or face the full might of our Empire." 2 days later, Admiral Rex stood on the bridge of the Dominion as it approached Earth's boundary. A massive communication array had been constructed to ensure their message would reach the planet directly. "Transmission ready, sir," reported Commander Pike. Rex straightened his uniform and faced the camera. "People of Earth, I speak as the voice of the Galactic Empire. Your defiance cannot be tolerated. You will surrender your defensive technology and accept Imperial authority within 1 standard week, or face the consequences. The Grand Fleet has been summoned. 10,000 ships that will overwhelm any defense you possess." He paused, letting the threat sink in. "Choose wisely. Even the most advanced civilization cannot stand against the combined might of 1,000,000 worlds." The response was immediate. Earth's unified government requested a direct meeting with Rex, not at the boundary, but at a location of their choosing deeper in their system. "It's a trap," Pike warned. "Perhaps," Rex replied. "But they've offered me safe passage, and I want to see their world up close before it potentially burns." The Imperial shuttle carrying Rex and a small delegation approached Earth's moon, where humans had established a massive base. As they docked, Rex saw something that made his blood run cold: an immense shipyard stretching across the lunar surface, building vessels unlike any Imperial design. General Miller greeted them personally. "Welcome to Luna Base, Admiral. Before we discuss your ultimatum, we thought you should see what you're actually threatening." She led them to a viewing platform overlooking the shipyard. "These are just a fraction of our defensive fleet. We began building them 50 years ago, when we first observed your empire expanding toward our sector." Rex tried to maintain his composure. Impressive, but still no match for 10,000 Imperial warships. Miller smiled thinly. "Perhaps a demonstration is in order." She nodded to an aide, who pressed a sequence into a control panel. Out in space, a small drone appeared, then instantly vanished. On the main display, Rex watched in horror as the Dominion, his flagship, left safely beyond Earth's boundary, suddenly went dark. All systems shut down simultaneously. "Don't worry," Miller said calmly. "We've merely suspended your ship's power systems temporarily. Your crew is unharmed." She turned to face Rex directly. "That was done from here, across millions of kilometers, through your most advanced shields, by a single drone the size of your hand." The display changed to show the rest of the Imperial fleet, still waiting beyond the boundary. We could do the same to every ship in your grand fleet the moment they approach. Or worse. Her voice hardened. Now, Admiral, here is our ultimatum. The Empire will formally recognize Earth's sovereignty and our claimed territory. You will establish a non-interference zone around our entire system, or we will be forced to demonstrate our capabilities on targets beyond this system. Rex stared at the general, finally understanding the true balance of power. This isn't a negotiation, he realized aloud. It's a mercy. Precisely, Miller nodded. We don't want war, Admiral. We just want to be left alone. The Grand Fleet of the Galactic Empire emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. 10,000 warships arranged in the traditional Imperial spear pattern, designed to strike fear into the hearts of those who oppose the Emperor's will. The massive vessels filled the void outside Earth's boundary, their weapons ports open in silent threat. From his flagship, the Eternal Glory, Fleet Commander Drax surveyed the impressive display of Imperial might. Unlike Admiral Rex, Drax had no interest in diplomacy or understanding Earth's position. He had conquered 37 worlds in his career, and Earth would simply be number 38. Status report, he demanded. All ships in position, Commander, his lieutenant responded. The primitive planet has nowhere to run. On Earth's surface, citizens went about their daily lives, seemingly unconcerned by the armada assembling above them. The government had informed the population of the Imperial threat, but there was no panic, no emergency preparations, only calm readiness. In the Unified Defense Command Center, General Miller studied the Imperial formation with mild interest. They've deployed their entire reserve fleet, noted Colonel Davis. Every available warship in their empire is now positioned outside our boundary. Miller nodded. As expected, Commander Drax is following the Imperial War Manual to the letter. First, display overwhelming force. Next will come the final warning, then the coordinated attack. President Banks entered the command center, his face solemn but resolved. Has Admiral Rex returned to his people with our message? Yes, sir, Miller confirmed. The Imperial leadership is currently debating our terms. On the Eternal Glory, Admiral Rex faced Commander Drax and the Imperial War Council, his expression grim. Their technology is unlike anything we've encountered, Rex explained. They disabled my flagship from their moon base without firing a conventional weapon. Drax scoffed. One ship is not 10,000. No defense can stop our combined fleet. You don't understand, Rex insisted. They showed me their production facilities. They've been building defensive systems for decades, systems designed specifically to counter Imperial technology. Before Drax could respond, the ship's alert system activated. Commander, multiple objects approaching from Earth's moon. The view screen showed hundreds of small, silver spheres moving rapidly toward the Imperial fleet, stopping just short of the boundary. Defensive positions, Drax ordered, but Rex grabbed his arm. Wait, they're not attacking. This is a demonstration. The spheres arranged themselves in a perfect grid pattern before the Imperial fleet. Then, simultaneously, each one projected a holographic image, detailed schematics of every ship in the Imperial Armada, including weak points, command codes, and classified defensive measures. This is impossible, whispered Drax. They couldn't know all this. A communication request flashed on the main console. Drax nodded reluctantly, and General Miller appeared on screen. Commander Drax, she began, I see you've brought the Grand Fleet. Impressive, though unnecessary. Drax squared his shoulders. Your defiance ends today. Surrender your technology and submit to Imperial rule, or be destroyed. Miller's expression didn't change. Commander, the silver spheres before your fleet contain enough energy to disable every ship in your armada simultaneously. They're controlled by an artificial intelligence that makes decisions 1,000 times faster than your tactical computers. She leaned forward slightly. But more importantly, we've just transmitted evidence of your fleet's vulnerabilities to every subjugated world in your empire. If you attack us, you risk rebellion across your territories. A stunned silence fell over the bridge. She's bluffing, Drax finally said, but his voice lacked conviction. Admiral Rex shook his head. No, she's not. Earth doesn't fear us, Commander. They'd been preparing for this moment for generations. On the view screen, Miller continued, we have no desire for conflict. Earth simply wishes to exist outside your empire's influence. General Thompson will arrive at the boundary in 6 hours to discuss terms of a formal treaty. After the transmission ended, Drax turned to Rex. The Emperor will never accept this humiliation. Rex looked out at the seemingly insignificant blue planet that had brought the mighty Empire to a standstill. The Emperor, he said quietly, may not have a choice. In orbit around Earth, massive defense platforms silently activated, their true capabilities still hidden from Imperial sensors. Below them, in underground facilities across the planet, humans monitored the standoff with quiet confidence. They had chosen isolation long ago. They had prepared. And now, they would ensure their freedom. The neutral station hung in space exactly on Earth's boundary line, a simple structure designed for one purpose: the signing of what would become the most controversial treaty in Imperial history. Inside the main chamber, representatives from both sides gathered around a circular table, the atmosphere tense with unspoken threats and reluctant compromises. General Thompson, Earth's chief negotiator, stood opposite the Emperor's personal envoy, Lord Bennis. Despite the Empire's vast experience with interstellar diplomacy, it was the humans who appeared most comfortable in this unprecedented situation. The terms are straightforward, Thompson explained, activating a holographic display of the proposed treaty. The Sol Exclusion Treaty establishes Earth and all territory within 5 light days of our sun as sovereign, independent space. The Empire agrees to never cross this boundary without explicit permission from Earth's unified government. Lord Bennis's face remained impassive, though the muscle twitching in his jaw betrayed his anger. And in return, Earth agrees to non-interference in Imperial affairs beyond our boundary, Thompson replied. We will not share our defensive technology with any Imperial worlds or enemies. We will establish limited trade outposts at designated points along the boundary for carefully regulated exchange of approved goods and information. Admiral Rex, standing behind Bennis, studied the human delegation carefully. Their confidence still unnerved him. What prevents us from simply building our own version of your technology, once we understand it through trade? He asked. Professor Thomas smiled slightly. The fundamental principles behind our most advanced systems require a complete paradigm shift in how you understand physics. Without that foundation, the technology would be useless, like giving spaceship controls to a Stone Age tribe. Bennis leaned forward. The Emperor requires assurance that Earth won't expand beyond this boundary in the future. We have no interest in expansion, Thompson assured him. Earth has everything it needs within its system. Our isolation is by choice, not necessity. After hours of negotiation, the final document was prepared. It carefully preserved the Empire's dignity by describing the arrangement as a strategic alliance of mutual respect, rather than the surrender it truly was. As the delegates prepared to sign, Lord Bennis made one final attempt to save face. The Empire graciously accepts this alliance with Earth, he announced for the recording systems. The Emperor, in his wisdom, recognizes the unique status of humanity and grants them this special autonomy as a gesture of imperial benevolence. General Thompson merely nodded, allowing the Empire this small victory of words. The truth was known to everyone in the room. Later, as the Imperial delegation prepared to depart, Admiral Rex found himself alone with General Thompson. There's something I still don't understand, Rex admitted. You showed us some of your defensive capabilities, but I suspect we've only seen a fraction of Earth's true power. Thompson studied Rex for a moment before gesturing him toward a small viewing port. Come with me, Admiral. Through the port, Rex could see Earth shimmering as a distant blue marble. Thompson pressed a sequence on his wrist device, and suddenly the view changed. Rex gasped as Earth's true defenses became visible. Massive orbital platforms that had been completely invisible to Imperial sensors, swarms of automated defense systems, and what appeared to be artificial microsuns positioned at strategic points throughout the system. "By the stars," Rex whispered, "you could have destroyed our entire fleet at any time." "War was never our goal," Thompson said quietly. "We've studied the rise and fall of empires throughout history, including our own past on Earth. We chose a different path." As Rex turned to leave, Thompson added, "The boundary works both ways, Admiral. It keeps you out, but it also keeps us in. Perhaps that's best for everyone." 1 month later, the Emperor addressed the Imperial Senate, spinning the treaty as a masterful political maneuver that secured the Empire's interests. Yet throughout the galaxy, word spread of the small blue planet that had stood against the mighty Empire and won. On worlds long under Imperial control, people looked to the stars and whispered the name Earth with new hope. If one world could maintain its freedom, perhaps others could too. And on Earth itself, humanity continued its unique path of development, watching the stars with vigilant eyes and peaceful hearts, powerful, independent, and alone by choice.